and welcome back. My name is Jasmine here at Jasselberry Sews. So today I decided to do something a little bit fun and join in with the 20 questions for sewists. So you'll get to know a bit more about my sewing habits. So I have gathered these questions from Teresa at Lost My Threads, who very kindly put a list of the questions in her description box when she did this video. But she also said that, I'm just reading from my tablet, that the challenge was put together by Annette from Sewing in Michigan. So thank you, Annette. Although I first came across these questions when I saw Erin from Erin Sews. Her video was the first one that I saw of these 20 questions, which I think is quite fun. So I'm going to rattle through these and let's see what craziness comes out of me now. Right, so question 1. How do you feel about using a new pattern? So I always describe myself as an enthusiastic beginner sewist, because I will try most things. Now, don't get me wrong, buttonholes have scared me for some time, and I've only just started doing them this year. So I've been sewing 18 months, 2 years, but the first time I ever used a sewing machine was like 10 years ago. And you can hear more about that in my I started a YouTube channel vlog, which I will link. And so I am still new to various techniques. So I like sewing new patterns because I like the next thing. But I know my limitations and maybe I self-restrict as well. So for example, you may have seen my September Fabric Godmother Dream Wardrobe unboxing, and I said, not sure about making a coat. Am I just saying that because I'm scared of making a coat? Do I have these preconceived ideas of what that means? But equally, that pattern looks like it could be quite relatively easy to put together. I mean, I've done welt pockets on my pogo nip, so surely it's not more difficult than that. So yes, I'll tackle a new pattern as long as it's something I like the look of. Question 2. Do you remake/mend? I guess the answer is yes, but I've not had too many opportunities to do that at the minute. Yeah, I've not particularly. I will remake or mend because there's no point throwing something away if you can fix it. For example, I bought a pair of jeans on Vinted. It was the brand was Lucy and Yak, and this person said that they were brand new. They had the tags on, but there was a little rip in the side seam near the pocket, and she was selling them for £10, whereas these jeans cost like £40. So I was like, yeah, I'll have them. I'll fix it. So I fixed it, and now I've got a brand new pair of Lucy and Yak jeans to wear. So, you know, I'm not wasting things. So, question 3. Do you make toiles or mockups? The answer is, it depends. The answer for the most part is yes, but maybe not necessarily in the traditional sense. So you may have noticed from a couple of my vlogs now, I don't particularly wear really fitted items. It's just not something I'm overly comfortable wearing. Now, don't get me wrong, that blue farmer's market set is very fitted, and I love that. On that, because the cherie top was quite fitted, I did toile that top just to make sure that I was able to get a fit that I was more comfortable with. And I'm glad I did, because based on my measurements, I did the CD cup, but actually I went down to the AB cup. And I'm glad I toiled it, because then it turned out much better in the original. And I also toile like trousers as well, but I toile them in some really random scrappy bits of fabric that I have lying around. But then on the flip side of that is, for example, my Nautilus top from my Busy Bee Sewing Challenge for September. I toiled that in the sense of making a wearable toile. So my first one was this pink one, actually. I had a bit of fabric left, and I thought, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But equally, it wasn't a fitted garment, so I wasn't too concerned about it. So yeah, the answer is yes for the most part. How do you feel about pre-washing fabric? Pre-wash it, full stop. Moving on. Yes, I pre-wash my fabric because I've been stung by this early in my sewing journey. I made a cute little pair of shorts, put them in the wash, and then they didn't fit me. So I was gutted. So now, pre-wash. Full stop, no questions. Get it in the wash. Question 5. Do you finish your seams, and how? Yes, I finish my seams, and I pretty much use an overlocker. French seams are beautiful and elegant and delicate and all those wonderful words, but I don't have the patience. Now, if I was sewing maybe a sheer garment, then probably would consider that, but I'm not planning on making too many sheared garments at the minute, so for the moment it's overlocking. Question 6. What is your favourite sewing activity? What an interesting question. Wearing it? I don't know. This is a bit of a cop-out answer. I just like the whole process. I find it really therapeutic. I like following the process and coming out with something at the end. And it's just a bonus that you get to wear it and be like, thanks, I made it. Oh, but question 7 is your least favourite. So I can definitely answer that. Buttonholes. I've not fallen in love with them just yet. Maybe at some point. I just need more practice. Number 8. Stash fabric or new fabric? That's difficult because I'm looking over here, because I do have a bit of a stash. I will insert photos. But I do like new fabric, which is, I guess, why I'm subscribed to fabric subscription boxes. I have a stash, and so I should say stash fabric. However, if I see fabric that I really like, I may very well purchase it. However, I've gotten very, very good at restricting myself from buying things, i.e. I'll flick through fabric shops and add a couple things to my basket and then be like, no, Jasmine, you don't need it. Close. So, I get that little bit of shopping endorphins and all that, but don't actually add more to the pile. Number 9. Are pockets a must? Why is that even a question? Yes, pockets are a must. However, there's a caveat there. Depending on what fabric you use, adding pockets can be questionable. For example, my poppy dress from earlier in the year that I wore to a wedding, it would have been ideal to put pockets in that. However, because it was a lightweight, drapey, viscosy fabric, I didn't want the bulk of a pocket, or more specifically, the bulk of my phone in a pocket. So I chose not to put pockets in there. And I think probably a lot of people will agree with that. Depending on your fabric, you may not choose to put pockets in it, even though pockets are a must. Number 10. Knits or wovens? Now, I instantly say wovens. Wovens are where I started sewing. I think because that's the fabric I had at hand when I first ever started sewing, and obviously it's a lot more stable. So when you are a beginner sewist, it's easier to handle. And I haven't really ventured too much into knits, really. I've made a couple jumpers and things. And this is a Naya tee in a jersey of some variety. But it's not my favourite thing to make, even though they are easy. I can whip things up on the overlocker. I know that's a possibility. Just I choose not to. Number 11, favourite fasteners or no fasteners? Well, based on my least favourite activity, no fasteners. I don't like buttonholes. I quite like poppers. However, I find poppers difficult to apply. So maybe I just need more practice and to get things hammered in onto my jackets. Like, I've got a shacket that I made and I have not put poppers on it even now. Mainly because I probably won't ever do it up. So it's just aesthetic reasons to add the poppers. But I also don't want to ruin the shacket by inserting the poppers wrong. You know, there's a whole... I think with fastenings, because like buttons or poppers and things like that, they are pretty much the last thing you do. So there's every possibility you may ruin your garment that you've just spent however long making. It's a bit... just makes me a bit anxious. So yeah, if I can get away with no fastenings, I will get away with no fastenings. 12, sewing for self or others. I sew for myself. I use it as a form of therapy and I love coming out with something wonderful to wear at the end of it. I have started making for my husband. There is a Ilford jacket that is basically done now. I've just got to do buttons and buttonholes on it. I just need to pluck up the courage to do that because, as I said, buttonholes. Number 13, YouTube or Instagram? Now, I guess my question is in what sense? I really enjoy watching all of the sewing vloggers on YouTube. I collect everybody's videos and put them into my watch later, and every time I go on YouTube I add more videos to my watch later and I just make my way through that list whilst I'm sewing or just doing various bits in the house. But Instagram is great for like quick, easy inspiration, like searching up hashtags of the garments that you are looking at making, looking for inspiration, seeing how they fit on other people. So it's really important to make sure you hashtag your garments correctly. Can I say both? Because I essentially use them for completely different things. Shh, both. 14, dresses or separates? Separates is the answer. Even though I love dresses, I love swishing around in them and, you know, it's proper feminine and I just, they are brilliant. But there's a time and a place. Well, in my eyes there is. I know there are people who very rarely wear trousers. And I wish I could be one of those, but I'm just not. So separates, because then I can mix and match, and I don't know. I just gravitate more towards separates than I do dresses. Question 15. How do you get rid of or pass on me makes? Now, the truth is, I have not got to that stage where I have me mades to pass on. Everything I've made, I think I still have. So at the moment, I've not intentionally passed on anything me made. So I can't really answer that just yet. 16, quick sew or involved sew? I like a quick sew. I like the quick satisfaction that you get from whipping up a top, such as the Nautilus top that I spoke about earlier. I guess a more involved sew would be something if I know I'm like for a special occasion. So for example, I made a dress for a wedding I attended in the earlier parts of this year, the poppy dress pictures. I think I've already shown them. And then I have a wedding to go to next year, and I will probably make my dress for that, and that will probably be an involved make, depending on what style I choose. I haven't got there yet, but I'll take you on the journey with me. So yeah, quick sew. Number 17, social or solitary. So I don't live close to any socials, so I don't attend anything in person. However, I do attend virtual socials. I attend So Hayley Jane's Thready Set Go socials, which I really enjoy doing, and I enjoy that social aspect.
Editing Jasmine here. So I filmed this like 3 weeks ago, and since then I am very lucky as Hayley has asked me if I wanted to join her affiliate collaboration group, which of course I said yes. I love Thready Set Go and the community Hayley has built. So let me fill you in. Hayley has built a completely free online community platform for people, just like us who love to sew and want to share their passion for sewing and everything around this hobby. And in the free forums, you can chat with other members who come from all over the world, which is absolutely amazing. You can share your sewing plans, you can post photos of your makes, read any reviews people have posted on sewing patterns, fabrics, tools, equipment. You can ask questions, ask for advice, share sewing tips and tricks. It really is an amazing place to get involved in the community. So there's also extra features like the monthly pattern club, which is like a book club for sewing, where you can talk directly to your favourite pattern designers, and Hayley invites along special guests. So that's all included in a community membership. So with that type of membership, you also get access to the online sewing socials, which are up to 3 times a week at the minute. And Hayley is also building a library of high quality sewing tutorials, which Hayley makes herself. They're very detailed, they're very step by step, and they're great for someone, like myself, who sometimes needs a little bit of extra help, because Hayley makes things so clear and easy to follow. So if you go to join Thready Set Go, it's, as I said, it's completely free. Go to threadysetgo.com and join the community and get involved. Although if you do decide to upgrade your account to get the extra features, the pattern club and the socials, you can use my discount code, which I'll put on the screen, Jasselberry, for 10% off your first month. So now, of course, I should say I pay for my Plus membership and have done ever since Hayley started this community. But if you choose to upgrade using my code, I will get a little something, which of course does not affect what you pay for your membership. So yeah, I would absolutely encourage you to join and get involved. It's worth saying, Hayley does also do a free online sewing social, maybe once a month so far that I've noticed. So if you're not sure if you want to join the socials, or pay to join the socials, attend a free one. Come along, see what it's all about, get involved. And I hope to see you there, or in the forum at least. It's free. Right, back to it.
But equally, I do on an evening for the most part is sew or record YouTube videos and edit YouTube videos now. And I don't mind doing that. I enjoy that. I can entertain myself. But I do enjoy the virtual socials that I attend, and I would highly recommend anybody just trying one to see if you like it. Question 18. Do you have a dedicated space? Yes, I do. I have this little room It is the smallest bedroom in our house, and I'm very lucky to have this space because I can just leave it a mess. No, it's nice to have my own little space, and I'm very, very lucky to have the space to be able to do that. Question 19. Nearly there. Labels or no? So I struggle with this because I really, really like labels. I think they are so beautiful. There are so many beautiful designs and creative companies creating them. But I just forget to put them in my garments. I'm terrible. I have a little collection of them in this thing here. But I just forget. I just completely forget to put them in my garments. The most recent... Yeah, I just forget. So, for example, this is one of the Nautilus tops. I did not put a label in this one. I probably could still go back and add one in. But I added this label into this garment. So, yeah. Labels, yes, if I remember. Or if I have a suitable one, because I don't really have a big collection of labels. Maybe I need to collect labels. No, I can't. Finally, question 20. % of me-mades versus ready-to-wear. So this really, really depends on I'm going to say season. So since I've only been sewing about 18 months-ish, well, sewing on a more consistent, dedicated basis for 18 months. And that started by sewing for holidays. And that was the goal when I first started. And then over winter last year, I was sewing for a cruise that I went on with my nan in February this year. So I was aiming towards like warmer weather sewing. And this is now the first winter where I have no summery holiday planned for for the foreseeable. So now is the only time that I'm thinking about, I should probably make some cooler weather clothes. So in terms of % me made, my holiday wardrobe is basically 90% me made. But my everyday existing wardrobe is more like, I don't know, it could be 50%. So not too many. I guess based on what I'm wearing, this is a me made. This is ready to wear Matalan, and I've got joggers on, which are also ready to wear new look. Both items I've had for a number of years. So based on my outfit today, it's less than 50%. But I'm just trying to slowly build up that casual day-to-day wear. So let's just say 50% me made, taking into consideration the fact that I don't have many cooler weather me made clothes. Yeah. I've only just relatively started on a more consistent basis sewing, so I'm all right with that. And I think there are some garments that I may just not make. So, for example, I may always have a ready-to-wear basic, like black and white tank top to wear underneath things. I see no shame in admitting that I wouldn't want to make those when I can just buy them. Is that a bad viewpoint? I'm not sure. I sew for like fun and therapy. I'm not trying to build, I don't know. I sew for fun and a form of therapy, and to give me something to do rather than vegging out on the sofa. All depends on how you see it, really. So that was my answers to the 20 sewing questions. What do you think to my answers? Is there anything you completely agree with, or anything you completely disagree with? I mean, I don't want to start arguments in the comments. What What about your answers to the 20 questions? I'll put the questions in the description box if you want to take a copy and put it, answer the questions in the comments. I'd love to know. Perfect. So I will see you all later. Thank you so much for watching. And please, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you're not already a subscriber, I would love it if you could hit that subscribe button. And I will catch you in the next one. Thank you guys. Bye.